So while I was still a evangelical, Pope Benedict got my attention. He was speaking to a group of 450,000 charismatic Catholics. That off the bat got my attention because I was what you would label as a charismatic Christian or Pentecostal Christian, but I didn't belong to a Pentecostal denomination, so you would generally just call me a charismatic Christian. But I called myself a Baptist-costal because I believed in the gifts of the Spirit like the Pentecostals and the Charismatics, but I enjoy the exegetical, expository preaching that's found in most Baptist church. So I found myself, fellowshipping with the Baptists a lot. And there were a lot of Baptists who would secretly, believe in the gifts of the Spirit, but, that was against their denomination's doctrines, so they really couldn't talk too much about it publicly. But a lot of pastors I'm talking about. So getting back to Pope Benedict, as he was speaking to these 450,000 charismatic Catholics, which is larger than most charismatic Protestant denominations, but this was just a group of Catholics. He said to them, "You charismatics are the hope of the church, but before you evangelize outside the church, you must evangelize within." And that was very interesting to me. And now I see what he means. He's speaking specifically to charismatics because they're generally on fire. They're excited about the Lord. They're excited about the church. They know the Bible well, so they could debate with any Protestant who wants to debate the Bible with them. I mean, I ran up against one, when I was a young evangelical, and he beat the crap out of me, if you want to debate Bible. His name is actually Tom Viditti. He's got a podcast called Tomasio, if you're interested in seeing the guy. Kind of lost contact with him. If you're watching, send me your number. But anyway, getting back to Pope Benedict, what he said was we need to evangelize within first. We need to evangelize Catholics. And this has never been more clear to me until this election. If it is true that 50% of Catholics voted for an apostate who gets denied communion because his policies that he pushes are so anti-Christian, if 50% of Catholics voted for this guy because they think he's a nice guy, we got our work cut out for us. And I plan on doing a lot of videos evangelizing Catholics, as well as trying to evangelize our Protestant brothers and bring them back home to the Catholic Church. But I got a dozen or so in my head. I just need to cut them down to a reasonable amount of time where people will watch the whole video and then just put it up on the screen for you. But I want you guys to know, a lot of people are asking me about my Blue Collar Catholic shop. They don't see it up on the website. So, normally if someone is offering shirts or coffee cups, you see it like right underneath the video description. With mine, you have to click on the arrow to get to the video description, and then it'll just say teesprings.com. Click on that, and then it brings you to a Blue Collar Catholic shop, and then there's shirts available. And I specifically made 2 shirts as evangelistic tools. So one here, you might have seen me wearing Stay Catholic. That's available in every different color. And then the Dogma lives loudly in me. And it's a way to evangelize without shoving our religion down people's throat. They might ask you, "Oh, what's that mean?" "Oh, that's interesting." And then, conversation go for that. And, and let it be authentic. Just tell them what you believe and why you believe it. And we need to start evangelizing. This is the new evangelization. We need to bring Catholics home, even Catholics that are in the pews that don't believe. I read another article, half Catholics don't believe the Eucharist is the actual body and blood of Jesus Christ. I mean, that's the best part of being Catholic. That was the main reason I came back to the Catholic Church. So we got our work cut out for us. But I just wanted to just go over a couple things about Fox I said the other night. I was really excited. I left some things out, and I might have led people to believe things that I didn't mean to say. Like, for example, a dear friend of mine texted me that Archbishop Vigano was actually the papal nuncio to the United States. So in layman terms, he was an ambassador, because the Vatican is its own city-state. It's sovereign. It's a sovereign state. So they actually have an ambassador to the United States. So I'm not much into church politics. If you've watched my show, you know that. But I wanted to make a point that a man like this, a godly man, number one. Number two, someone who knows the players in Washington, D.C. He was involved with the government. And he called this election months ago saying to President Trump that the deep state would try and rig it. And Trump prepared, and he has his lawyers, and it's not over yet, no matter what CNN or Fox News says. It's not over until every legal ballot is counted and certified. I mean, even in a normal election, it takes weeks to certify all the ballots in all the states. So, but what got me mad about Fox News is they went along with this cabal and played along with it to make it politically harder, even if they win in the courts. You know, they wanted to make it so politically hard, like everyone knows Biden's the president, this guy's trying to steal it. And the way I know Fox was in on it, like I said, they called Arizona before anybody, they called Virginia in a nanosecond. And then Florida, where I live, I knew once all the Democrat counties were in, we were up by 200,000. There was no way. The only thing left was Tallahassee, which is 90% Republican up in that area. So I was like, why don't they call this? They waited 4 hours. And I noticed they waited, and if they would have called it, he would have been ahead in the delegate count. But every time they called a state that we knew was his, they waited till that didn't put him ahead. So they waited till the West Coast came in, for example. So even though he won Florida, well, he stole down. And then even Ohio, he won Ohio overwhelming. They should have been called earlier, but they waited until there was enough states of Biden's called. So they played into this game, you know, so the American people didn't see they stole the election, which they're trying to do now. And like I said, I never gave in to that liberal talk that Fox News was a conservative station. Fox News I always thought was fair and balanced. They would show both sides. You know, they had Shepard Smith on for years as their anchor of straight news. And he was an unabashed liberal Democrat. I mean, everyone knew that. And he was their news anchor. And he hated Trump. I mean, he said some pretty bad things about Trump on the air. For straight news guys, I was kind of surprised. And they didn't fire him. He left, he resigned, and they tried to keep him. And then when I'm watching, this is one of the things I left out. When I was watching the calls that Fox was making, I'm like, who's calling? So I Googled who's the head of Fox's decision desk, the head guy, the director, or whatever you call him, of the news desk that makes the call. You know, the other guys work from Chris Stalwart coming out, you know, because he's got a good camera persona. But the guy that ran it is some nerd that you never see, Arnon Mishkin, who's admitted publicly that he voted for Hillary Clinton, admitted publicly he's a registered Democrat, and he's the guy making the call for Fox. And, you know, years ago, when it was fair and balanced, it was run by a guy named Roger Ailes, and people thought it was conservative because he was a conservative. He ran Reagan's 2 successful campaigns, but he since passed away, and Rupert Murdoch, the owner, is allowing his children, who are admitted liberals, run the station. Now, sure, they still have great conservatives. I love Tucker Carlson. He's the best thing on TV, in my opinion. Tucker Carlson will give you the truth. So they allow this, you know. Do they allow because he's got the highest ratings on TV, so they make money, and they need to make money. They're not as ridiculous as CNN, who said at the beginning of Trump's term that they don't care about making money. Their job is to take them out, and this was public. You can Google this. Someone filmed the meeting with their CEO. So they might not be that extreme, but they were in the tank for Biden the whole time. And like I said, you know, Another Godfather quote, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So they kept all of us close where we would trust them. So when they put the gun and did the hit, we didn't expect it. So that's my take on all that. And again, for you guys who like my apologetics, I got a lot coming at you. You know, how to evangelize the lost, how to evangelize lukewarm Christians, how to debate a Protestant, how to bring our Protestants together on issues that we agree. We agree 90% of the time, especially on social issues. We agree on everything. You know, doctrinally, we have some differences, but there's ways to make them understand that we're not a false gospel. We can still disagree, but a lot of them think we teach a false gospel. That's the hurdle I'm going to show you how to get over. And like I said, I'm no theologian, I'm not a deacon, but I was an evangelical for 30 years. I know how my brothers think, and I know the Bible, you know, because 30 years of being evangelical, I was taught how to exegete, how to read it expository, and came to find out the Catholic Church was the church that Jesus Christ established. So I'm here, and you got to deal with me. God bless. Stay Catholic.